episode of my Q&A series. So for today, we are going to focus on the questions that you guys submitted related to my journey as an adventure photographer and blogger. So the first question that I wrote down when I did the Q&A inquiry was, what sparked your love for adventure and travel? And it's kind of a two-part question, because I would say that my love for travel and my love for adventure didn't necessarily really begin at the same time, or maybe more so my idea of adventure has evolved. I grew up in a family that we traveled a lot, mostly to Costa Rica, where my mother's side of the family is from. We also traveled to Europe, but in general, mostly international travel. And we were never a family that did a road trip or camping or outdoorsy stuff, hiking, etc. That is not how I grew up at all. However, I still to this day have no idea what made me do it, really. But for whatever reason, in November of 2019, right after I graduated from Fire Academy, I decided that I wanted to take my then 3-year-old daughter on a trip, and I found super cheap flights for Denver. And I had never been there before. I had never been to Colorado. I ended up taking her to Colorado Springs, flying into Denver, and that was the first time I ever hiked, actually. And I was really excited because a few days ago I was looking through old videos to see if maybe I could find videos from that trip. I'm going to put that video up on the screen because that was the first time that I hiked. So I don't really know what inspired that to this day. Maybe I'll have to reflect more on it than I already have. But for whatever reason, November 2019, I decided that I was going to take a hiking trip. Me and my daughter, one of my friends from college ended up going with us too. And it was really fun to have her there as well, and helpful given how young Lily was at the time. But it was quite the adventure, and that was really where it all started as far as my interest in being outdoors and hiking and all of that. It kind of was just on a whim. I think maybe what kind of gave me the courage to take that leap and try something new is when I decided to go through Fire Academy. It was very different from anything I had ever done, and it was kind of something that no one in my family, no one who had ever known me would have ever expected me to go through. And also, I was always called the princess of the family, so no one ever expected me to be somebody who, out of all the kids in my family, out of all 7 of us, I was the least likely to be the one doing backpacking trips and, spending all night under the stars and getting down and dirty and all of that stuff that I absolutely love. I was not that growing up. And I think my personality very much enjoys contradicting what those around me think of me and proving people wrong. What was your first big adventure and how did it shape you? So again, this would go back to, I would say, that trip with my daughter. I think there was also a turning point a year ago. It was either March or April of 2024. I took a trip to Colorado by myself. Ended up spending a few days at Great Sands National Park out there by myself, and it was absolutely amazing and one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And that also was a very formative trip, I would say, in addition to the one where it was the first time I had ever, gone hiking, period. How has adventure travel changed your perspective on life? This is a tough one. I think it's less how adventure travel has changed my perspective on life and more on how my life has changed my perspective and led me to adventure travel. And what I mean by that is, at this point, it will have been 6 years since I graduated Fire Academy, even longer since I've worked as an EMT. Through the years, I have seen a lot of situations that any sane human would find anywhere from mildly to extremely traumatic. And it really puts life into perspective. And I think that is what kind of has led me to continually want to explore more and try more. Years ago, do you prefer solo adventures or traveling with others? I feel like this question is gonna get me in trouble. Not actually though. There's a part of me that really loves traveling alone. I love my fiance, I love my daughter, and I have some awesome friends that I love adventuring with. But I think in some ways I prefer adventuring alone most of the time. I would say the advantage with having somebody there is you are able to share the experience with them and like share those memories. There's also, of course, the advantage of like having somebody there who can film for you or take photos and kind of be another perspective. However, if all things were equal, if somehow I magically had somebody always there to take pictures and videos, but I would still be alone, I'd probably take it. I don't know. I don't know when I became such a loner. I mean, I'm really not a loner. Probably people who are loners say that though. Okay, last question for today is, what's a lesson the outdoors has taught you? I feel like I could do a whole nother series on lessons the outdoors have taught me. But as you can see, I didn't pre-plan my answer to these. I did think about them, but I didn't want it to come across as rehearsed. Really, although I wrote the questions down, I didn't write answers to them or bullet points or anything. I wanted it to be as transparent and honest and on the spot as possible. I guess a lesson the outdoors has taught me is that there is, just like with anything in life, there's a balance. And I have over time gotten better at balancing the line between being overly prepared and being underprepared. Of course, being underprepared is never good for obvious reasons, but depending on the activity, being over prepared, you might be carrying a lot more weight than you need to. Let's say if you're talking like a backpacking trip or even a day hiking trip, right? It's kind of similar to if you think of the phrase like work harder, not, or work smarter, not harder. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. I apologize for the rambling. I appreciate you guys being here. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. And I look forward to any questions you guys might submit for next week's Q&A. Thanks so much. Bye.